All right, up today, and I'm surprised I have not shot any service or review videos on a Pioneer SX626. I have worked on so many of these. I think I've just always been under the assumption that I've worked on them, but I couldn't find any videos about the SX626. So here's what's going on with this one. It's got really gnarly, dirty controls. It's missing an original knob. This is kind of a champagne colored. I was able to find a champagne colored knob. It is the same color as these other ones. This is just not all nicotine covered, right? And then I don't know where this came from. It came off another Pioneer, but obviously that is not the right knob. So I'm going to put this new knob on here for now. See if I can get it aligned. And I naturally put it on crooked and it doesn't want to come off. So these are nice little receivers. I'll do a gear review on this once I get it sorted out. Let's see if I can actually get that on there straight this time. There we go. So what was going on with this is we had lots of crackling and popping and static coming from the controls. What I normally do when I hear that is I will just work the controls back and forth until I get, somewhat clear sound or somewhat even sound out of the channels before I even think about opening it up. And naturally that's after I've tested it on the dim bulb tester. This came up just fine. This does use those goofy speaker adapters. I can't stand those for this series, right? The X2X series use the little speaker adapters, right? These things, junk. Don't like those at all. So knowing that this has issues with noisy controls, and I believe, let me see. Let's just plug it in and take a look at it. I believe, if I remember correctly, this might have some lamps out too. And this was actually purchased from a local Goodwill. Shocking that something like this would wind up in a Goodwill, but this was in a local Goodwill. And it's actually not in too bad a shape. It's a World Radio though, Pioneer. So World Radio electronics stores, I guess. That's probably what that's from. But it's on there. I'm not going to remove it. So I'm just going to power this on. Here's the dim bulb over here just to validate that it's good, right? No flash, nothing crazy. I want to look at right, you can barely make out the lights. They are present. It looks like we have AM, FM, phono, mic, auxiliary. And this thing is so gunky, like I can hardly move that. Now, I'm assuming this is champagne. This could be nicotine. I have cleaned so many pieces of gear lately that have just been, caked in nicotine to the extreme. This one could be an extreme example of that. Looks like nothing is easily accessible from the top. If this is like the 737, I'm probably going to have to disassemble it though. And I'll take you through that. First, let's take this bottom off and see if I'm correct. One thing about the 2 series is they have an integrated speaker select power control, which is known to fail. You get arcing in that control occasionally. I think it was worse on probably the 50 series. So, if you get one of these, you might want to consider putting it on an outlet strip and flipping the controls that way. Oh, the controls are nice and accessible. Look at that. So, right, now the only pots I can't easily get to are treble and bass up here. But we got balance and volume and the selector and all of these switches. Now to get to these, I'll just have to take the faceplate off, which I think I'm going to do anyway because I want to clean this faceplate. I'm probably going to have to get to the glass back behind there. Now, one thing, I was doing some checking around last night, and this does not, as far as the service manual that I looked at last night, this does not have any of the 10 worst or top 10 worst transistors in it. So, which really makes it nice as far as preventive maintenance goes, so you don't have to go in and change a bunch of stuff. You just kind of have to go in and identify something that may be bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click over, I'm going to speed through just cleaning the pots and switches. You know, I can actually get to the treble and bass from the side, so I won't even have to take that apart. So yeah, this is going to be a nice, hopefully a nice quick one. And then we'll come back, and then I'll play it, and we will confirm that there's no more scratchiness. And then I'll go on to the cosmetic clean, and then hopefully we can call this done. Now what I'm going to do with this though is, what I would normally do is I'll flush it with this WD-40 contact cleaner, because people will say, don't use WD-40. It's contact cleaner. No residue, quick drying contact cleaner. It's okay. It's okay. So I like to flush it with this because this stuff is cheap. And then I go in with Fader Lube, which my Fader Lube, look at this. I got brand new Fader Lube, and it's leaking out of the top. So, and I don't think it's this, but this is so disappointing. I gotta order a new one. This one's leaking out of the top for some reason. Just bummer. So I'll have to order new, but I noticed that yesterday. It just pools at the top. There's a slow leak in this thing somewhere. And this top part is misaligned, so I have to buy some new. I do like using Fader Lube though, because it does kind of treat them. This is good for cleaning. This is good for treating. So, right. Soap, moisturizer. So, all right, let me get to sorting this thing out and cleaning these controls. All right, I'm gonna fire this up, make sure it's on FM. One thing I also forgot to mention was I think I'm going to change the lamps in this, put some incandescents in there, or I mean some LEDs in there, replace the incandescents. So volume is low, balance is centered, so it's on. Tune it to a station. The dial lamp is out, so I need to replace that though. Let's see. Let's get some volume. Okay, I'm getting nothing on the right channel, but it's this stupid. It's this speaker adapter. Whoops, don't want to hit. No, let me turn that down. Dang, way too long. I may have to beep some of that out. So I'm going to have to work a little bit to figure out. I think that channel imbalance is because of that speaker adapter. And just to show you what's going on, I've got my little test wire here. One end is broken. I think that's where the issue lies. So I'm going to fix this off camera, come back, and let you know what I found. Right now it sounds like there's a channel imbalance, but I don't know that I can say for sure that all of the pots and switches are as clean as they could be. Let me get that in here. I hate these things. These These are horrible, these speaker adapters. They always come, in fact, I just lost, this one was as tight as I could get it and a wire just freaking popped out on it. This was the dumbest design. This was really stupid back in the day. And how many people were switching speakers between different systems? Like, I think, was that the intent? Like hey, I got 2 stereos, let me just, in one set of speakers, let's just swap, right? Speaker connectors. All right, let's try it again. Let's see. Nope, still have one channel. Pretty good channel imbalance. Can't tell it's December, right? One thing I want to do though on camera before I sort that out is I want to see just how much of this golden glow is metal and how much is nicotine. So let's kind of wipe down this little section here. I mean, I know champagne colored aluminum existed, but man, this is almost like a gold. And yeah, there's like nothing coming off. That's really the color. Huh, that's interesting. I've just never seen it this dark before. I've seen it subtle, but not like that. I mean, look, there's like nothing coming off. That's actually pretty clean. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to off camera, because I'm going to have to listen to actual sound and music. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with this channel imbalance, see if it's a dirty control or whatever. I'll come back and let you know what I found. Then we'll pull the face off and start working on the lamps, or we're going to come back and figure out if there's a bad cap in the signal path somewhere causing that channel imbalance. But either way, I'll come back and let you know what I found. Yeah, so it was actually the speaker selector. That's all it was. Once I hit that again with some cleaner, it came right back, and it's been pretty good since. This thing is pretty nasty on top. See all this dust? So I'm going to have to blow this out. But what I want to do now is look at lamp replacement on this. So let's see how difficult that's going to be. So I'm going to have to remove all of my knobs. And if you didn't see that, let me explain to you one of the issues that's pretty common on these. Excuse my big head being in the frame. I'm looking for one of my little pry tools. These knobs are in 2 parts. So when you go to remove the knob, sometimes that little inner part will pop out. So I'm sure some of these are going to have to be re-glued. And there's just, yeah, see that one came right apart. And it's real common on these for that to be the case. And these things get stuck. So it's oftentimes a battle getting these off. See how these come off, but the stupid plastic part in the middle is like welded in position. There, that one came off. And then you got to put them back in here, and you got to get them realigned, and it's a pain in the butt. And again, pioneers. Why they did this, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to have to fight with these. I'm going to do that off camera. I think you understand what I'm going to be doing. Try to do that without damaging something. It's kind of funny. And I actually have a better pry tool, and I have no idea what happened to it. I have no idea what happened to my... I have another angled one like this that's blue that actually works a lot better. Oh, that one actually works pretty good. So anyway, I'm going to take this faceplate off. I'll speed through this because it looks like I can hopefully get these. Gosh, look at that. And I know these aren't aligned correctly, but I will realign these when I go to put those back on. One final one. Let me unplug this. Now, I don't know about that. I guess I'm not speeding through that. I don't know about that dial pointer. This one does not have any type of retention screw, so that's good. Now this because it's on the glass, you need to be really careful with this one. And this one has to come off to take the faceplate off. So I don't like prying this one, at least not putting any pressure on the glass, and it's just a matter of working it out so you don't break something. I'll also soak those knobs because they have a lot of gunk on them. Looks like they're just 3 screws in the front of this to loosen. Man, that was being a little bit difficult. Well, I know this is painful to watch. I am so sorry. I should have just sped through it, but I didn't think it was going to be this difficult to remove this one little thing. You got to be really careful in this so you don't scratch the face. Let me just speed through it because this is going to be a pain in the butt. All right, my battery's almost out on this thing too, but I'm not going to be doing all of this today anyway. 2 screws off the top after you remove the knobs and those retention screws. And I'm going to take this inside and clean it up. That's not going to be very exciting. It's just going to be a little bit of Dawn dish soap. All right, get this cleaned out. Look, that glass is in pretty nasty shape. And this is also a tinted glass, so it makes it a little bit darker. All right, so what do we have going on with lamps? It looks to me as though I can replace the lamps fairly easily. So I think, just to show you what's going on, if I remove this protective plate, I'm just going to loosen the screws, pop this back, right, and that covers the dial cord, just protects that. Then there are screws back here, and I think all that needs to be done is it's just 3 screws. They should come out really easily, but these are not. So I may speed through this because that's going to take way too long. So the mic just turned itself off. I have no idea if the battery, I don't think the battery died when I was filming this portion, but it just turned itself off. There was a pop, and today I'm editing the video, and I'm like, oh, there's no sound. So as you can see, I'm wrapping up, or actually performing the lamp replacement. My big fat noggin is in the way, and I apologize. I've since repositioned my camera. I'm trying to get a better angle, and I may just have to build like a new little mount for the camera. But the lamp replacement was fairly straightforward. You can see me. I mean, everything was easily accessible. And then this little segment here, excuse me, I really don't know what. I think I'm just showing you that the lamps were replaced. I remember thinking that the hot spots weren't particularly noticeable with these LEDs. The receiver still is dirty. I still haven't blown it out at this point. I think when I come back, I've blown it out. I know for sure before I put the cover back on, or the cabinet back on. The receiver was nice and clear. Yeah, the SX626, the controls were easily accessible. The lamps were easily accessible. They're great receivers. So I'm going to go ahead and get just kind of cut over to the last segment and wrap this video up. All right, so we're at reassembly phase. So lamps are good. Everything's been cleaned. I just need to put everything back together in here, and we'll call it good. This is a very interesting. I've worked on champagne colored receivers before, and this was not over here when I dusted this out. This one has a very, 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 very unique champagne color to it. Like it's really like a copper color. I don't know if that was unique to this World Radio, version, or if maybe I just didn't see it before. But I think it's I don't know. It looks darker. It looks a lot darker. What I had to do is I had to soak the knobs for about 30 minutes and get them to a spot where they were clean. What I will do though before I put the bottom back on is I need to test to make sure that the scratchy pots are good. You know, the pots were so bad on this that I don't know that that I trust they're going to be okay after what I did yesterday. What I normally will do on a unit with pots that were as scratchy as this one is I'll let it sit overnight. Sometimes I have to clean them 2, 3, 4 times. You know, the proper way to do it would be to break everything open and crack every pot and switch open and clean them. But, you know, at the end of the day, this receiver was purchased at the Goodwill. It's a receiver that's only going to be worth, a couple $100. So how much time and energy and effort do you put into it? Is kind of what kind of my thoughts on this. Like how far do you go into this one? Well, I can tell you for me, it's not very far. So what I'll do is I'm going to speed through reassembly. I'm going to omit testing for sound. And what I will do though is come back to review the finished product. Now this will also get a stereo receiver review because again I was shocked that I haven't done one before. So one of those will be forthcoming as well, where I'll share some additional information. But let me get to, I missed some dirt there. Let me get to final assembly of this Pioneer SX 626. All right, I only have a couple of seconds of battery life left, but I wanted to wrap this video up. Here's the final product. Pioneer SX626. Stay tuned for the review video on this. Got to put the bottom back on and then I'm done. As always, if you like what you see, like it, subscribe. Catch you in the next video.